This can't be fine. Impossible. Gershon!
Yeah. It's straight.
It's not straight. I'm looking at it. It's crooked.
Your chair is good.
Okay, that's better.
No, it's not good.
Much better.
You don't see it there. No, good. You listen to the chair. And you see it much.
Gershon, can you get up for a second? What is wrong? Oh, hey, no, you got it. First of all, take that thing. It's on. It's
Straight. Yeah, but now
no, take it off. Take it off. That it's gonna fall. It's gonna slip.
Gary, in the new place, you have to have
Yeah, there's gonna be in the new place. It's gonna be like this. It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be a different camera. It's gonna come out of the ceiling, come out of the table maybe. The new place. Shine. The new place is gonna be here, right here. Are we on? Today is Daf Yomi. Holding 7 lines down. Omamar.
Yeah, I didn't.
So we're going back to the psukim that we discussed yesterday. Omamar, we learned yesterday, nefesh. Anybody is moil. Anybody's over Meilah. Echad hayachid, an individual, v'echad hanasi, v'echad hameshuach. Even someone that had shemen hamishcha. Who has shemen hamishcha? A kohen gadol, a king, b'mashma. That's the Gemara. Shechol mai pshita. What is the hava amina that a kohen gadol shouldn't be over Meilah? Why not? Says the Gemara, nefesh. If it says nefesh, any soul, anyone, including a kohen gadol. Says the Gemara, when it comes to the shemen hamishcha itself, only a zar is over. If a zar uses shemen hamishcha to anoint someone else or to pour it on somebody else, he's over. But a kohen gadol himself, who's anointed, is not over. Zaru, and since he's not considered a stranger when it comes to the oil, so I would think that maybe perhaps there's no Isser Meilah by him at all. Kamash Malon, that there is Isser Meilah even by a kohen gadol and by a nasi. Zog the Gemara. Now, just to review what we learned yesterday, and the Gemara is going to go into it today. I don't know if you could see this, but basically there are 3 limudim the Gemara says. There's a limud from Saita to Meilah, because it says the word Ma'al. There's a limud from Avodah Zarah to Meilah, and there's a limud from Truma to Meilah. What do we learn from these things? So the Gemara says like this. What's a Saita? Saita, she's still married to her husband, so she didn't leave her husband's rishus, but she benefited. She had anah. So that's the concept of having anah without leaving the domain. Avodah Zarah is the opposite. You leave the domain, you leave HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you say bye-bye HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you go into Avodah Zarah, but you don't benefit. There's no anah. Nobody enjoys doing Avodah Zarah. And then you have Truma that we learn in Gzeiras Shavah. So the Gemara says, just balpeh, before we go into the sugya. From Saita we learn that concept that you could benefit from Meilah without being poigamit, without depreciating the Meilah. Just like a Saita, she's not depreciated when she's mizana with somebody else. Why? Because the only depreciation would be psulim, getting rid of her psulim, but she's already not a psula because she's already married. So it's a case of not having a bgam and having anah. And that is an object, a Saita is an object that doesn't depreciate because she cannot be depreciated, she's already depreciated. So she's no different than a golden cup that doesn't depreciate when you use it, but you have anah from it. Saita has anah from it, and then you see that concept so from Saita you see, in a situation where there's no depreciation in the usage, there's still an Isser Meilah. The Torah uses a lashon of ma by a Saita. Second thing is Avodah Zarah. What does it say about Avodah Zarah? Avodah Zarah, it changed Rishuyos. It went from one Rishus to the other, but there's no anah. Okay, so that we learn from Avodah Zarah. What do we learn from Truma? Third thing is, Truma is somebody that eats, there's an achila, and the consumption, you depreciate the fruit. After eating, there's no more fruit. And Meilah, by Meilah also, you have to be able to not just being mazikit. In other words, if you take a beged from Hegdish, you take a clothing from Hegdish, and you cut it up into shreds, you're not over Meilah. Why not? Why aren't you over Meilah? Because that's just mazik. You didn't have any ana. And from Truma you see that you must have ana. Okay? Now, you have a lot of ana. Yeah. Without the cup, you couldn't drink. Also, people think you're rich. It doesn't have to be because it's gold. It's the hana. Now, because it's gold, there is hana. People say, oh, look at this chashiv guy. He owns a $200,000 becher. He is a chashiv guy. That's the hana. What does a woman have hana when she puts on a necklace? She has hana. People say, oh, look at that beautiful necklace she was able to afford. What? No, I'm saying the same case. The Mishnah uses the case of a golden cup and a necklace. Those are in the Gemara, these cases. Why? Person has a na when he uses a very expensive item. People pay money, they rent these items. Right? What do you have a na driving around in a fancy car? When I went to Los Angeles, they have a whole different department in enterprise for luxury cars. You can rent for how many hundreds of dollars a day, which I did actually, because this is why? What's that now? Because you're driving around in a Porsche, in a Lamborghini with the thing down. What's that now? It's not. You get from A to B in the same exact time, because other people think you're cool. And that's worth $1,000. For some people, for some shaitim. Yeah. What? So that's a different ano. From the site that you learned that concept of just benefiting without leaving the domain. She stayed in her husband's rishus, she benefited. Sometimes in Meilah, you're removing from the domain. You're taking things out of Hegdish. Sometimes it can remain in Hegdish, as we're going to see later on today, remains in Hegdish, but you benefited. That's the Chiddush. So now, let's see what?
If it's also just enhanced self-esteem, is that hana?
Yeah, if it gives you a pruta worth of hana, yeah. If nobody sees it, you would like to drive Lamborghinis without anybody seeing. There's such a thing. My son, he likes to rent Lamborghinis. Don't know why. Over $1,000 a day. So why? He said because I'm not paying either. He promised me I'm not paying. Yeah. And he just had a small accident. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. They wanted him to pay $30,000, $40,000. It wasn't a big deal. It was like he was just on the way back to give it back, and the guy with the pickup truck behind him hit him. He didn't have insurance. No, it's not a big deal. But every time he goes to Florida, for some reason, he's renting these. Yeah, it's a certain amount. When nobody sees, obviously nobody's. Anyway, it's a whole different story. If you want to go into it, I'll go into it a different time. I once bought a large property. Meilah Shoya bought a large property, and the guy came up and he says, "Listen, it doesn't make sense that you could afford this property, and you drive a minivan. I had a Sienna. Then I didn't care. I was in a Sienna. So he gave me a very hard time because of the car that I was driving. So then I said, okay, fine. When I go to these meetings, they're impressed by cars, so that's it. So from that day on, never went back to the it's a Meilah Shoya. Anyway."
You also rented Lamborghinis.
What?
You also rented Lamborghinis.
No, I never rented one actually. But I did. No, I rented a Porsche once in Los Angeles. That's just time for the shtick. Okay. Nefesh. Okay, so where are we holding here? We're holding by the 3 psukim. Va'aksho rachmana l'soita. It's the Torah says by soita the word mal. V'la'aved the zara. It says also, what did I say here? Vayimalu. Also lashon of Meilah. V'truma. So the Torah, so the Gemara wants to say, why do we need all 3? Soita, Avodah Zarah, Truma, we said is Exer Shava, Chet. It says Chet by Truma, it says Chet by Meilah, and we learn all these halachas that we had yesterday from Truma. Says the Gemara, Soita, the Af, Agav, Deloy Pogam. By a Soita, there's no Pogam in the Soita herself. she was a Be'ula, she remains a Be'ula, nothing happened to her. There's no depreciation in her. Meilah, Gabi Hegdish Nami, Nosno Tabas Biyoda. So we see the same concept by Meilah. If you take from Hegdish, you take a ring and you put it on your finger, Mala, you weren't there yesterday, but the Goyim have this all the time. They go to these shows and they rent this jewelry. They have these things that cost $2 million necklaces, yeah, in Hollywood, and they rent it, or people give it to them for free sometimes, yeah, for the promotion. But otherwise, you rent it. It's kedai. People think, oh, look at this ring that costs. Look, this person is wearing a $5 million ring. B'chulu b'chulu. That's the hana. You get hana from it. It didn't depreciate 1 gram. Not a single pruta did the tabaz go down in value. But you get a physical hana, whether it's a chveis, what do you call it?
Enhanced self-esteem.
Enhanced self-esteem, or a perceived self-esteem, whatever it is. Other people think that you're X, Y, Z. Fine. It's all about what the other person thinks. Ki akshu rachmana lavedizar. And then why does the Torah bring you pasuk in Havedizar? The adis b'shinui. By Havedizar you don't need a hana. Havedizar doesn't have hana. But what do you have by Havedizar? You have a shinui. It changes domains. Gabi hegdish nami ad debika bekardoim v'yivgoim upogum. Incredible. So the Mefarish, Tosfos, all this line is, this is not 100% necessary for what we're talking about. There happens to be a sugya, a whole sugya, and we don't even paskin like that sugya, but the Gemara brings it anyways, that sometimes when you borrow something from your friend, let's say you borrow an axe from your friend, and then your friend says, give it back to me. Within 20 seconds, do you have to give it back to him? You borrowed it for 2 days, and he gives it to you, and he says, I want it back. So there's a Rav Huna that holds, and we don't paskin like him, he holds that you have to give it back unless you started using it. If you started using it, you don't have to give it back. So that's what the Gemara sticks in over here. By Hegdish, it becomes yours when you started using it. When does it leave Hegdish's domain and becomes yours? When you started using it. Fine. The point is that if it goes out of Hegdish's domain, you removed it from their rishus into your rishus, regardless of whether you benefited from it or not, it is considered Meilah. Even if you didn't have hana, you removed it from the rishus, that itself is considered a Meilah. Actually, Rachmana, the Truma, and then the Torah compares it to Truma, Ma Truma ki yoichal. By Truma you have to eat it. You eat it. Prat lemazik. But if you just take fruit and you destroy the fruit, you're not moil. So Tosfos says a beautiful thing here. I'm really confused. Who says it? Yeah, Tosfos. Tosfos says that if a person ate fruit, you listen to this chiddush, in Meilah, a person is stuffed. He just came off of one of those sudas that we just had on Yantif, and then he goes and he grabs an apple from Hegdish and eats it. Is he over or not over? He did an achila. Is he over?
It's not a gory.
It's what?
Enjoy the bite. You don't anymore, but you're enjoying the
Says Tosfos, you're not over. You're not over. Because that's not achila. That's achila gaso. That's considered stam. As I zok Tosfos.
people are using that.
Some people want to throw up after. Depends. Yeah. Because the Torah says by Truma. No, but it has to be an achila. Oh! Exactly what the Gemara says, not like you. If I take a coat of Hegdish and burn it, I'm not over on Meilah. I have to have a nor from it. That's what we just learned from Truma. Look at the words. Ma Truma ki yoicha prat mazik. If I'm mazik it, I'm not over. I have to eat it. Says Tosfos, I have to eat it and enjoy it. It's not that I'm eating it. Because eating it and not enjoying it is similar to burning it. As I said, Tosfos. Now you want to say, I know it's gara and fine. But
what if you benefit from it, you don't enjoy it? You benefit from it physically or monetarily, but you don't enjoy it.
what do you mean? You didn't?
You ate it, you didn't enjoy it, but you got the calories out of it, you got the vitamins.
Okay, so that's a no. So I'm asking to you. Okay, so in the case that there's no anas garan. You never heard of such a thing as somebody eating something and wants to throw up as he puts it into his mouth?
From it, right? You got that, no, you got the physical benefit
No, not if it's achila gasa. Then the body just takes it and throws it out. You can't eat too many vitamins or vitamins, whatever you. What do you call it? Vitamins?
Vitamins.
What did you just say a second ago? There's such a word.
In English, you say.
Really?
We write English, so you gotta respect that.
Shem Yerachim. So Americans have I'm crazy. Vitamins. What kind of lotion is this?
Not English.
No vitamin.
No, you didn't have enough vitamins. You need vitamin C. You stuff yourself with schnitzel. Now you have some an apple.
This is what happened when I got married.
What? Oh, this kind of thing. You weren't communicating. You said you want vitamins. She gave you vitamins. There's no vitamin.
I had the same problem.
And you have different problems. Okay, yeah. No, you have the same problem. What? She's from South Africa. In South Africa, it's also vitamins?
What do you think?
Oh my gosh. Anyways, fine.
You need to translate them.
I've been both to South Africa and to England. I can tell you, it's probably the language that causes the whole situation over there. All right. Meilah truma ki yochal brother mazik. Ab hegdish nami called the barachilo ki mazik le potter. By hegdish, if you have something that's edible and you don't eat it, you destroy it, you are potter. End of the story. Givaldik. Okay. Zok the Gemara. So the Mishnah brings an example of a woman who wears a necklace, a golden necklace. It gives her hana. Ketzad nosno katlo. How can you tell me that by wearing a necklace it doesn't go down in value? Even gold goes down in value. There's a person called Nun. His daughter-in-law, he gave her a lot of gold when she got married. And what did he do, this Chaverman? He weighed it all. Before he gave it to her, he put it on a scale, and then he gave it to her. He didn't tell her. He said, go use it. And then at a later date, he took all the gold. He said, I want to see what I gave you. Took all the gold, and he saw it went down in value. No, he caught her. So the Gemara says, no, you see that gold goes down in value. Where did the gold go to? Obviously, when you use gold, it depreciates. Nun could prove it to you. They waited. That's why I said they waited before. They waited after. Omalei, not a riot. Dilmo dahava the Rami and Kalasechu. Maybe it's like your daughter-in-law. You buy her a nice necklace. What she do? She throws it. She doesn't take care of it. So yeah, if you're not going to take care of gold, it's going to get a nick here, a nick there, and it's going to go down in value. But your typical usage, on your day-to-day usage, it's not going to go down in value. Meilah, we don't consider gold. We don't view gold that every time you use it, it goes down by 1/100 of a gram, and after 100 times, it goes down 1 gram. That's not what happens, because if that's what happens, then it's a daily depreciation, and that's no different than biting into an apple that it depreciates. So you know, over a period of time, you're going to own it for 3 years. Eventually, you're going to nick it in the wall, and then there's going to be one depreciation that's actually going to take it down in value. And Meilah, this is considered an object that doesn't go down in value for today, because all we care about is today. Did it go down today? We had the same shaila yesterday about a tzitzis, an undershirt, the middle garment. Not the outer one, not the inner one, but the middle one. It does go down in value a little bit, slightly. Is it considered that it went down in value today? Void. So here he says, yeah, at the end of the day, this is more what I was saying now, before. At the end of the day, there is going to be a pgima, there's going to be a devaluation, a depreciation, but it's not the short term, it's not for today. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. Zog the Gemara. So the bottom line is, gold is not considered that it depreciates on a daily basis. Hanenem and achatos. And this we explained in the Mishnah. Again, so chatos, we have 2 categories. We have the cup that you drink from and it doesn't depreciate, and you have food that you eat from and it does depreciate. So what's a chatos? A chatos is an animal that you could depreciate if you use it, but it's a chatos. So what if it's a chatos? Says the Gemara, if it's unblemished, it's a tamim, hainu koshel zav, then it's no different than a golden goblet. Why? Because what are you going to do with this animal? You only have one option if it doesn't have a blemish. you can put it on the mizbech, and that's it. So if you have an animal that yesterday was worth $1,000, and you plowed a field with it, and now it's worth $900 because it went down in value, because you depreciated by using it, and you sheared its wool. You did anything you could possibly do to it to ruin it, to depreciate it. But nothing happened to it. Because the same way I was going to put on the mizbeach yesterday, I'm going to put on the mizbeach today. There's no value. I can't say, you ruined it. You took away from Hegdish. You didn't do anything to Hegdish.
That's nice.
Who cares? But the same way you put on the mizbeach yesterday, you're going to put it on today. You didn't take anything away from Hegdish. In order to, a chatos is considered like a golden cup that doesn't go down in value, because as long as I can't sell it and redeem it, then to me it makes no nafkamina how fat it is, how nice it is. I'm putting it on the mizbech, that's it. So therefore, our Mishnah must be talking about a chatos that has a blemish. And if it has a blemish, I'm going to sell it. And I'm going to redeem it and take the money and buy a new chatos. So every time I use it, if I ride it and I plow it and I shear its wool, it went down in value, and Meilah, I depreciated Meilah, that's why I was Meilah. Says the Mishnah. Nehena Daf Yomi base, top of the page. Nehena b'kechatzi pruta upogam kechatzi pruta, says the Mefarish. You're talking about a person who put on a beged, he put on a piece of clothing, and he benefited that he now is warm, so he got a half a pruta, but he also sweated it up, and he ruined it by half a pruta. The two things combined do not combine. Let's say he was wearing this clothing, and he's benefiting a pruta, and as he's wearing this clothing, he spilled something that Hegdish owns. But it's at the same moment, because yesterday we said it should be at the same moment. It has to be in one item, it has to be at the same time, and you have to have a no of a shavar pruta and devaluate it in a shavar pruta. Says the Mishnah, Ein moyel acher moyel.
But it was a shavar pruta.
No, only a half of pruta together with the other half of pruta. You have to do a full pruta of hana, a full pruta of ruining it.
Second case it says shavar pruta. Doesn't say chatzi.
Yeah, but he only did one. The second case, he had hana from clothing,
How much?
a whole pruta. No, but it has to have gam. Clothing is something that you must have a gam. It's like food. It devaluates, but he didn't devaluate it. What he did was he spilled out a pruta of oil on the ground. Okay, but the oil and the clothing have no shaykhs to each other. In clothing, you have to have a na and depreciate it, because it's not a golden goblet. Ein moyel acher moyel b'mukdoshim. There's a halacha in Meilah that when I'm moyel from something, I'm moyel, I take it out of kedusha, I make it into chulin. So once I take it out of chulin, I make it chulin, how could I be moyel in it again? I did Meilah once, it's a one-time deal. It became chulin. Once it's chulin, that's it. But there's an exception to the rule, says the Mishnah, Ela behema uklisharis bovad. Behema, which is a kedushas haguf, just because you're moil in it, nothing happened to it. Meilah doesn't remove kedushas haguf. Right? There's no way in the world I could take off kedushas haguf. How can I take off kedushas haguf? I could put it on the mizbeach, but I cannot remove it. I could steal it, I could use it, I could be moil it, and it remains kedushas haguf. So if today I use the animal for a pruta, and tomorrow my friend uses it for pruta, we're both over on Meilah. But if it's not a behema, if it doesn't have kedushas haguf, let's say it's bedek habayis, so by me being moil in it, now it became mine, my personal property. Now my friend comes along, he uses it tomorrow. He didn't take from the Beis Hamikdash, he took from me. Keitzad rochav al gabe behema ubochavev rochav kulam malu. All three people wrote it, they're all moil. Another example. Shasa b'koshel zav, he drank from the klishares. Now the klishares has kedushas haguf. Kedushas haguf is not removed by you drinking it. Drinking from it. All three, over Meilah. Talash men achatos, the same applies to a chatos, a behema that has kedushas haguf. So the first example was you wrote it. Now we're saying you sheared the wool. Rebbe Omer, Rebbe seems to be saying the same thing. Kol dover she'ein loy pidyon, anything that I cannot redeem, meaning something that's glushas aguf, yesh b'y moyel acher moyel, something like an animal or like a klisharis. There's Meilah after Meilah. So what did Rebbe add? Yeah, but the Mishnah says it. Yeah, but look at the Mishnah. The Mishnah says Mefurish, Ella behemo klisharis bovan. That's the Mishnah. So anyway, the Gemara is going to explain what the difference is. Says the Gemara, Mani Maslisin, who's the man in the Mishnah that says both a klisharis and a behema, there's Meilah after Meilah? Rebbe Nechemye, Desanya, Ein moyel acher moyel ella bebehema bovad. So the Tanna Kama says no, it's only a behema and not a klisharis. Comes Rebbe Nechemye Omer, behema uklisharis. No, it's in both of them. My time of the Tanna Kama, what is the reason of the Tanna Kama? Because Sovar, how come the Tanna Kama holds a klisharis? There's no Meilah after Meilah. Because Sovar b'inyona de behemoksiv. The whole musag of Meilah after Meilah is said in the parsha of a behema. D'chsiv be'el ha'asham. Because it says it by asham. Now, you could just read these three words over here and go weiter. But I made a whole thing out of it. I want to show you how beautiful this is. First, we're going to start out with the psukim. In Vayikra Pasuk Hey, Perek Hey Pasuk Tezvav, it says Nefesh Kisimo Mal. You're talking about Meilah, and it says Vehevis Hashama. You should bring what? A carbon asham in red. The pasuk afterwards, Pasuk Tezayin, it says Vakoy Yichaper Olav Be'ela Asham. It should say Yichaper Olav Bekorbanoi. Whatever. We already said Hashamai. We said already it's Hashem. It says in this pasuk twice the word Hashem, by the way. In this pasuk I didn't bring it down. It says Hashamai. And it says with his Hashem. Sub the Gemara. These three words are really, if you look in the Mefarish, it's a 5-step thing. It's time to make it a little fun and complicated. It's not that complicated. First of all, it says the Asham is muta, right? The red. The red over here matches the red over here. The Asham is extra. Fine. Then we have, so what if it's Asham? The Asham is extra. So the Torah is telling you that what did this person do Meilah in? He was moil in the Asham. That's why it's extra. He didn't do Meilah in something else. He was moil in an Asham. What's an Asham? An animal. And the Torah continues, step 3. The Torah calls it Asham. Even after his moil, the Torah says the Kohen should bring the Asham. It's still an Asham. Now what's the Chiddush? Step 4 is, I have a question. This is all in these 3 words that the Gemara says. Binyan ad Asham. Okay, Binyan ad Asham. I'll tell you what these three words mean. 5 things. So the Gemara has a kasha. Yeah? He was moil. Bring this to Avigdor. It's going to be a shmak. I don't know if he's going to have this thing. You going to Avigdor today? Tell him. Number 1, the Asham is extra. Number 2, the Torah is telling you that the Meilah is in the Asham. Number 3, it's considered a Asham. The Mefarish says, Kori Asham. After he's Moil, it's still an Asham. But here's a little bit of a knech. So the question is, so what if it's still Asham? Of course it's still Asham. Anytime you have something that's Kodesh Kedushas Aguf, where's the Kedusha going to go to? There's nowhere for it to run away to. So of course it's called an Asham. Oh, that's number 4. Oh, and that the Gemara says, no, Dafka Behema, only Behema. If I use it, it remains a Behema, it remains Meilah even after I was moil in it. And it's only one case, a Behema. Fine. It made it a little bit more complicated than it is, but it's down for the fun. D'chsiv Be'ela Asham. Again, let's see inside. My time in the Tanna Kama. Why did the Tanna Kama say not a klisharis, only behema? There's Meilah after Meilah. Because this concept of Meilah after Meilah is only written by the behema. D'chsiv be'el ha'asham. I'm just saying, without Mefarish, without Taisus, I don't know what we would think about this. Be'el ha'asham, it says be'el ha'asham. So what? So first of all, be'el ha'asham is extra, and the Mefarish explains, Taisus explains why it's extra, because it's supposed to be 4. But once it's extra, I tell you, it's dafka in a behema, and in nothing else. Zog the Gemara, Rabbi Nechemia. So why does Rabbi Nechemia say, but a klisharis is also, there is Meilah after Meilah? What does a klisharis do? You put flour into klisharis, and all of a sudden the flour goes from nothing, from being chulin, all of a sudden to kadosh, so kadosh that I can never remove the kedusha from it. It has kedusha saguf, and when I have kedusha saguf, I can use it 10 times. It still remains kadosh. If a kli can make something else kadosh, so the kli itself is also kadosh. Yeah? No? You have a kasha on it? What's your kasha? My kasha was like, oh, your mouth. Your mouth can make something kadosh kedusha saguf by just saying it, but your mouth is not. I don't know. Okay, fine. That's as far. Zok the Gemara, we have 2 minutes. Rabbi Yomer called over Shein Lepidyoin. Hainu Tanakama, as we explained in the Mishnah, Rebbe and the Tanakama seem to be saying the same thing. Omar Rava Ikebenayu Eitzim. When we learned the Sugi Menachas, as Rabbi Pessin said, this is a atom bomb. Psatzat atom. He said twice yesterday. This is a psatzat atom. Who in the world, if you didn't learn Menachas, would believe this is Gemara right here? That a piece of wood is considered a carbon, and you have to crush it up and take a kmitza from it, pour some salt on it, and when you put it on the mizbeach, make sure that there's wood underneath it, because it itself you can't burn as wood. It has to have wood already burning because it is a carbon. Unbelievable chiddush. And you have to put it into a klisharis, psatzat atom, to put it inside a klisharis to make it kaddish. If somebody says, I want to bring wood to the Beis Hamikdash, he has to bring 2 pieces of wood, because that's the minimum of the Beis Hamikdash. Every morning they put 2 pieces of wood. Rabbi Omer, eitzim carbon heim. It's like a mincha. Wow. Utunim melach, you have to sprinkle on it melach, just like a mincha. Utunim tnufa, we have to be goris here, hagasha. In other words, you bring it to the mizbeach, just like you bring a mincha to the west, to the southwest corner, so to these pieces of wood. It's not enough just to take the wood and burn it on the mizbeach. You have to have wood underneath it. This is crazy. You have to grind. No, typical eitzim is for fuel. Nothing. There's no kedusha to it. You put it on the mizbeach, finished. Over here, I'm being makriv of eitzim on top of the eitzim. It's not fuel. It's a carbon.
The question is if it's kedusha's going or kedusha's aguf.
Yeah, mamish like that, exactly like that. The eitzim become kedusha's aguf, become a carbon. Whereas the regular eitzim from the mizbeach, I could take it out of the mizbeach. I could take it out of the kedusha. So tzrichim kmitza, I have to grind it down finally and go like this. And the rest I put on the mizbeach. Or some people, some Rishonim say the rest I give to the kohen. Whatever it is, you do kmitza. And one thing that the Gemara doesn't mention is klisharis. I have to put it inside a klisharis, be mikadesh it, and then I go. There's another nafkemina that typically you need a hamada v'aracha. You need to make the animal stand up. Over here we're talking about a case that he shechted something he shouldn't have shechted. He shechted a balmum. V'tanyan, I learned, he became a balmum, so I can't shecht it, but he was over and he shechted it. There's nothing I can do. I can't redeem it, so I must bury it. So in other words, there is Meilah after Meilah, according to Rebbe, on a balmum that you shechted, even though you shouldn't have shechted it, because you can never get it out of its Meilah. It's called Kedusha Aguf, and there's nothing to do with it. You could redeem it. Taisus point out that according to Rebbe, this Meilah after Meilah is only Midrabanan. This is the Rabbanan halacha. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow at the same exact time, same place.
Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
You heard of him, right?
Avad,
England and America are 2 great countries, divided by a common language. He said it.
You have to have respect for England because that's the original.
Exactly.
I don't know where they got it from. Vitamin. What's it? You have to hit the X. Where are you? Got it? Let me see.